That's my tech mayors. And how does that make you feel in your world? For me, it's kind of make one minute I'm going, what you might have seen about an hour ago was what I thought in my Be Live tool, it was saying up the top there that I was pre-recording a show with my great friend, Carol Smith, who is a small business mentor, digital media expert. She's been my coach over the years, and she happened to be here with me in studio. And for some reason, it wasn't pre-recording. It put it out live. But not only that, it put it out live in place of the Live with Lottie show that is happening now. So we've just had to do a complete panic reset. And I'm just going to check over here on the other computer to make sure that we do have sound before I bring my guest on here. So, yes, you can hear the delay there and you can hear that the sound is working. So yay. I tell you what, I think that the tech mayor relief is coming from my guest today, because my very special guest, who is here live with Lottie today. Let me just put that up if I can there we go. Find my Live with Lottie lower third here. This is where you are today. And thank you so much for joining us, whether you're joining us live in Facebook or whether you are joining us in YouTube or whether you're not live, but you are watching a replay. Thank you very much for joining us. Please do, by the way, go and put some comments down below anytime during the show. If you've got questions for Lee, who is my guest today, or if you've got questions for Lee or questions for me, jot them down below and I can throw them up like this. There's Janie Lazar. Hello, my TEDx Dunleary founder and co-troublemaker with that tribe builder, Janie Lazar. But you can do, I can pop up your comments along here. And also, it's great for us as show producers because we need this interactivity for Facebook and YouTube to go, woo, we like you, and to therefore share out the show and to be able to let us be seen without having to cough up loads of money that we're all a bit short on right now with everything that is happening in 2020. So Janie, thank you very much for saying that you're looking forward to this. I can do shout outs for people who say hello. And we've got a hello from Joe Donnelly, who's probably, I think Joe must be a friend of Leon's, who is my guest today. So without further ado, how do I introduce a man who is almost unintroducible because he just does that to you? When I first met Lee a few years ago, we were outside the All Ireland Business Summit in Croke Park here in Dublin, and the All Ireland Business Summit, an amazing group of community people for small businesses here in Ireland. They have this event every year. It's absolutely phenomenal. But I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago. I think I'd just done my book and I was going through getting over my bowel cancer, that time of life. And now here we are. I'm grabbed him on screen today in my MS side of life because this month I've been focusing on the mindset as I kick my light over nearly, focusing on the mindset. And as I'm going through my MS coaching, Leon's words that he said to me back in 2018 when he first started his Transform program, Leon said to me then and was sharing with everybody then that to truly transform your mindset, there's a whole system of why belief and believing in what you think and feel ain't enough. You've actually got to know. So let's get on the go to know and find out why believing ain't enough. Let me bring my guest on. I've just turned his microphone on, so no swearing yet, Lee. By the way, if you are feeling that you're confused or bemused by swearing, then maybe this isn't the show for you. Lee speaks it straight. He speaks it out. He's been a millionaire. He's lost it. He's gained money back again. He is known as the Cockney of West Ireland, and you'll hear exactly why. He's lived all over the UK. He's got mega family from littlies all the way through to grown-ups, and so this is the man that really can change your mindset or get your mindset straight. You can hear him giggling in the background. Get your, I can see him putting his lipstick on. So let's bring him onto the screen in 3, 2, 1. Hello, Leon Tunney-Ware.
Hello, Lottie. Hello, everyone.
Thank you.
You're on the roll today, my love. You're on the roll today.
Getting on a roll today. All the early tech mayors with the pre-record show being your show being kidnapped by a pre-record, but we managed to get it going again. And thank you. By the way, while we've been doing this the last 5-10 minutes, myself and Lee have desperately been sharing it out and tweeting and resending out the new link. So thank you everybody else for joining us. So Lee, why don't you tell us a little bit about, let's start off with you telling us a little bit about you. I'll put you on screen on your own. Let's kick off with, who are you? What do you do? And why do you love what you do? And how do you help others in the world that you do?
There's a lot there, Lottie. Why do I do what I do? I'll work it backwards. It's easier. I suppose, I don't know, when they say you're talking on camera or on stage, you should tell a story. So when I was younger, I had very severe dyslexia. Younger being 6, 7, 8 years old. And I was considered stupid. I fought with that for a number of years until I went for a test for dyslexia when I was about 16. And when I tell the story, I normally say I walked in a room of dunce and walked out a genius. I really thought I was stupid. And when I had the test on dyslexia, they stopped the test about halfway through. And the lady that was doing it said, would you mind coming back in a week or two? I need to get somebody down from Dublin. And then I thought, well, I broke the system. And went out again, was down on myself and that. And we had to drive all the way from Westport to Galway. So about 2 weeks later, I went down again. And this chap came all the way from Dublin. And he was doing the test and kept asking me questions. Anyway, long story short, he said, do you realise you've got an IQ of 176? I didn't know what IQ meant. And it could have been QI for what I know. It's because dyslexia reverses everything. It's a bit like a one-arm bandit sometimes. He said, well, put it in perspective for you. He said, you have an IQ 10 points higher than Einstein. I didn't know who Einstein was. So he walked out and told my mum that I was a genius. And you wouldn't believe that somebody else's words outside, bear in mind I was the same person walking in, but I was a different person walking out because I had a few words, a bit of recognition in the outside world that I was not a clever person. I was a genius, according to this complete stranger. And I transformed that quick because of a few words. So why do I do what I do? Because I don't like to see people struggle. One person every 60 seconds commits suicide. 80% of people in their job don't like their job. And depression seems to be on the increase. And I used to, I don't know, rant about it. You think somebody would do something. You think somebody would do something. So I'm doing my bit. I think in my mind, bear in mind it's only in my mind. It doesn't exist. Yeah, just because I say it's no more real than if I thought it. But in my mind, things need to change. Yeah, they do need to change in a sense. At some point, I don't know, if you say it as it is, you've got to wake up and smell the coffee. You can't keep living the same BS belief systems every day and expecting a different result. And that's Einstein. He said that if you keep on doing what you've been doing, you'll keep on getting what you've been getting. Why would you? It's insanity to expect something different. So when you
get the same results then, Lee, and yeah. It's funny, I love that because everyone's expecting Lee to say bullshit, but actually you're saying belief systems, and I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. So,
well,
and actually you're kind of leaping into where I want to go with you today. So thank you for sharing that story, because I just actually typed up in the comments, you're actually probably the least stupid people that I've ever met, and there's so much savvy that goes on in your brain. And actually, that's the whole reason why I wanted to get you on today. So, Lee, just before we carry on, could you do me a favor? Could you tilt your camera down slightly? Because there you go. That's better.
You don't want the John Wayne shot, man.
We're on the same eye height now, and that way we don't get our faces covered up with our chins covered up with lower thirds when they pop up on screen. So, Lee, tell us, you kind of mentioned your Transform program. So this is I've just put the poster up there on your left-hand side. This Transform program is the program that you started in 2018, but you've been thinking about this and building this for years. So why don't you, and I love this poster down below you now with your at one of your events with a big grin on your face. Because you have really transformed your life through various different avenues, and actually you now live and work in the Westport Adventure Park, and that's your business now. Let me just take these pictures off the screen. So where kind of does it all start with that BS, the belief systems? Where does it all start, and what are we going to look into today, do you think?
Well, there's a few areas of it when we think the problem's one individual base. So in a sense, I've got to change my beliefs to have a better life. In my mind, that's just one part of the equation. That's me on the inside. For me on the outside, then I have to deal with other people's beliefs and opinions of me or about the world or about what's going to restrict you. So I think it's twofold. One, it's changing what's on the inside. Two, it's communicating effectively on the outside with what I call the language of intention. So in a sense, my words inspire, not influence, not motivate. Because like sometimes we go through life trying to make other people do, excuse me, what we want them to do. So we either persuade, influence, condition, excuse me. Where in my mind, I'm the boss of me. Nobody else thinks of me. Nobody else can breathe my breath. Nobody else can feel my heartbeat. And to me, that's the truth. Now, what you might have heard was that I'm arrogant, that I'm cocky, I'm this. No, I'll translate it for you. You breathe for you. You think for you. You decide for you. No belief, no opinion, no thought is in control of you. You are the human that thinks the thought, the human that believes the belief. You can use that belief to confine you, to refine you, to design all the things in your life that you don't want. But at some point, if this is your life and you breathe for you, you think for you, you decide for you, then I wouldn't use that breath or that heartbeat to decide that you need to love yourself more, that your inner child needs to grow, that you need more confidence, because they're opinions of self. And you can love another person, you can believe in another person, you can respect another person, you can have a positive self-image of another person, but you are one entity. So you cannot love yourself. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to get lost. I can get lost in the real world, but I can't get lost inside. There is just me. So when we talk to ourselves or when we think these thoughts, is what are we actually doing? When you're talking out loud to yourself, so for example, I'm on camera now live, I don't know how many people see it or how many people will see it. I'm going to have a chat with myself. How you doing, mate? Yeah, I'm too bad, mate. I think I need more confidence. What do you mean you need more confidence? Well, I just think I need it. And if you saw me doing that in the real world, what would you think of me? However, in our own private time, that's what I mean. Let's honestly put a mark on it. It's that. But what if I'm the human that thinks the thoughts, says the words, and then I'm going to hear them come back in and I'll go, oh yeah, really? I mean, who am I talking to? I'm one entity. So when we talk to ourselves...
No, I always think that inner dialogue, and actually you mentioned before about the inner child. I know you've got some very different, and you've been working on 4 quite different models. And the whole concept of stop believing, simply know to succeed and move forward. So can you share with us a little bit about why the belief system that you have, the knowing rather than belief system that you have, and why the inner child and self subconscious and beliefs like that you are currently debunking and your book is going to be written about?
When we think about it logically, bear in mind, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm happy to be proven wrong. But first of all, I would question core beliefs. Where do they come from? Well, one, we're only human. What does that mean? Two, that I've evolved from a primate and I've got these primeval instincts in me. Three, that yin and yang controls the world. What does that mean? Positive and negative. I don't think there's any positive and negative. I just think there's two energies that collaborate and they're called yin and yang, which means there's no positive and negative. Yin and yang creates life, and I don't consider life negative. When you've got that life, when you've got that power to create positive or negative, and you can create negative thoughts about yourself, negative opinions, where do they come from? Well, the subconscious mind. Well, it does exist, you know. No, it doesn't. It's a concept, and I'll prove it to you, and I'm happy to put my money where my mouth is. It's €1,000 reward up for anybody that can prove me wrong, not with their opinion, not with their belief, not with their thoughts. When I say prove me wrong, out of the billions of autopsies, scans, MRIs that's been done, whatever medical procedure's been done, show me one true scan or image, not a Photoshop image, a real image of the subconscious mind in the real world. Show it to me in a jar. It doesn't exist. It's conceptual, which means it's a belief. But it's the way of disrespecting us as a human being. If we believe that the subconscious mind is in control of 90 to 95% of us, on our head top computer is consciousness, below that is our subconscious, then we're giving up 90 to 95% of who we are. And we say, well, Lee, that's the truth. No, it's not the truth. The truth is that your thoughts are your thoughts, your emotions are yours, your spirit is yours, your biology is yours. But if we looked at it another way, is that there's really, and bear in mind what I'm going to say now is external language. This isn't what's going on inside us. This is just messaging in the real world so you can hear it. Is you've got a mind, you've got a body, we say our heart, which represents our emotions, and we've got a spirit, which represents our spiritual energy. So so it's heard and translated, yeah, is that we've got, let's say we've got 4 operating systems, 4 hard drives, yeah. So let's take it back to, say, my little boy, William. And let's say William's playing the Xbox, and I say, William, can you turn the Xbox off, my little fella? Daddy wants to watch the news. And he turns around and says to me, why? Why do I have to turn it off? Why can't I play? I say, because I want to watch the news. That's mind. That's debate. But let's say he doesn't debate. He just drops the controller down and stomps off. Bang, 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 sulks, like literally he's angry, yeah? It doesn't sulk, but he stamps, and you can hear the door slam, everything. That's biology. Let's say he doesn't stamp and he doesn't back chat and he cries. He just walks out and cries. That's emotion. If he doesn't do any of those and he just sulks and drops his head down and puts his head down, to me, that's spirit. So if you're an inspirational speaker, then you inspire people. That means you're speaking to the spirit. If you're a motivational speaker, you speak to their biology, the motor, the drive. If you're an intellectual speaker, you speak to the mind. If you're an empathetic speaker, you speak to the heart. So when people say I'm stuck, stuck is a physical term. It's not a logical term. Stuck is something that's real. In the real world, you can be stuck. If they say it's hard, hard is physical, which means it's biology. If they say I don't like something, I don't like my job anymore, that's emotion. If they say I'm not proud about my job anymore, or I'm not inspired by it, that's spirit. So when we are blocked, a lot of us talk about mindset. First of all, I would change that. I don't want to be in a mindset. I set my mind. I don't have my mind set. So first of all, it's who's in charge. Your mind's in charge or you're in charge? If you're in charge, you set your mind and you focus it on what you want. You don't allow your mind to set you. And we get caught in mind. We try to reason it through, and we use affirmations. That's mind, because it's linear. Even though we're trying to convert to spirit or to heart, we use visualization. That's mind again. We use vision boards. That's mind again. And what they say is, even if you write your goals down, that's mind again. That's organizing it. Is what they say is you've got to write it down and you've got to feel it. Now, feeling is not mind. Feeling is either emotion or spirit or biology. You feel with your biology. You feel with your emotions, and you can feel like an energy. Where are you blocked? So if you're procrastinating, to me, that would be biology. If you're not inspired, that's spirit. If you're not in joy, that's emotion. And most people keep trying to talk to the subconscious below the neck through words, where all it is 4 operating systems, 4 hard drives. And what I've worked out is what I call the combination of life. First of all, where are you blocked? And what is your specific, unique combination on the inside? And there's 16 parts of that combination. But then that's the inside. From your skin in is your world. From your skin out is the real world. So in the real world, there's another 16 parts. But then in the real world, we're talking to somebody else, which is now we're talking to another person's world. So there's actually like 16 parts in you, 16 parts in me, and 16 parts in the real world. So isn't it any wonder that we haven't made any real sense of it? So when somebody says, I believe this, you can believe in me. I can believe in you. That's belief is for external. I cannot believe in myself because I am myself. And bear in mind, when we say, I believe in you, it means I believe in the inside of you. I believe in you. In other words, what's inside of you. That's what you believe in somebody. So if I believe in Lottie, I believe in what's inside of Lottie. I don't believe in Lottie's physical being. So belief is inside for me to have for somebody else or something else. But for me to think something.
So hold on, Lee, because for me, every time I hear you speak, there's some kind of new bomb that gets dropped. And I kind of, you're twisting my melon, man. You really are. And I love the fact we've got Ollie Groom has just jumped in here and he's saying brilliant about that. Oh, Ollie, I love your swimming photo, by the way. That's fantastic. And Paul Carroll says, hi, pal, to you there. So hello to Paul as well. So, and anybody else who wants to put a comment and has so I can pop things up here. You've got any questions? Got any challenges for Lee? Because by the way,
oh, definitely.
This man loves a challenge. If you don't have to agree or like what he's saying. He's taught me this, but we are all entitled. And I love that quote that you said, Lee, from your skin in is your world, from your skin out is the real world. And that's and this is where, like, I always talk about confidence on camera, is the difference between perception and judgment. We always judge ourselves so harshly. And the notes, by the way, folks, just chatting with Lee the other day, the pages of notes that I was taking down here, because all of this, Lee, is linked greatly into your what you're working on right now, the big placebo. So can you kind of, how does all of this connect with, we've got our internal word with the heart, the mind, the spirituality, the biology. And I'm reading this, by the way, folks, because there's just so much there. So can you tell us a little bit more about your concept of the big placebo and how that links in with that thinking you've just explained?
Well, bear in mind, if you took away the environment, as in weather, storms, earthquakes, everything like that, take that away. You take away wild animals. What are you left with? You're left with other human beings being your stimulus. We talk about fight or flight, which is a fear mechanism from the reptilian brain at the top of the spine that affects how your biology is driven. So if you're in fear of anything, that's a biological program. If you're in doubt of something, that's a psychological program. So when people say, I'm scared of, if it's not a real fear, as in a lion's coming at you, that's what fight or flight's for. It's not meant to degrade or disrespect you or refine or define you on the inside. And we talk about fear like it's real. Fear is real when somebody's coming at you with a punch or a kick or a knife or a gun or a lion or a dog or something like that's coming at you. That's when it's real. But if you haven't got that in your life and it's conceptual, as in it's from what you think or feel, what you've internalized or what somebody else has internalized, then it's a placebo. Because when we live within the parameters of belief, within the refines of belief, then all we can choose is the beliefs. So for example, if you think it's hard, that's the thought. If you believe it's going to be hard, then you've already designed your future. Yeah. And if you're going to write future fiction, because none of you know what's going to happen tomorrow, none of you know what's going to happen. You've got your appointments made. But if something of a higher priority comes up, you'll change your appointments immediately. So the future is not designed or created. You can believe in destiny, but that's you believing in destiny. Doesn't mean that destiny exists. But what we do know is you breathe for you, you think for you, you decide for you. This is your life. Your heart pumps in your chest. So the only person that can make your future is you. So if you're deciding within your mind, within your heart, within your biology, as in your gut, within your spirit, that you are incapable, then that's nobody else doing that other than you. Now, if mum said it, dad said it, the teacher said it, similar to me, doesn't mean they're right. That's just their opinion from their skinning being brought into the real world. So the placebo is that
sorry, Lee, we just had a tech glitch, a little blip there. So if you've just lost the sound a second, I'm just going to check online, Lee. Let me just go to my other mean machine over here and check that we've still got sound there. It was just a little blip, I think. Stay on that page, and let me turn the sound on. Yes, we do have sound, so that's great. So sorry to interrupt that.
That's all right, don't worry.
That flow there, Lee. And while I'm interrupting, I was a comment here from Edmund. Great to see you both here, Lee and Lottie. I totally agree with what you're sharing. So I love that, and also I actually I'm typing up at the same time in the comments too. Is do you believe in destiny? But I'm very much, I did coaching back in the 2000s with my Australian mate, Shelley Taylor-Smith, 7-time world champion marathon swimmer back then. And she's actually coached a lot of people, a lot of swimmers here in Ireland as well, virtually and in real life. And she always said, Lottie, you create your own reality. Because I know a lot of what you do is based in your learning through NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So Lee, kind of I'm going to let you carry on here now. And do you remember where you were? Because Lee's we both jump around.
But the big placebo, I mean, in my mind, it's very simple. Bear in mind, that's in my mind. When it comes out of my mouth, it mightn't sound exactly like I think it in here. But if you think about it this way, if we're the only stimulus in this world, and we've got wars going on the other side of the world, or we've got we need nuclear weapons to control another race, then what that control comes from is fear. So within the fabric of our society, one of the governing factors that controls another race or another continent is fear. And it's a hierarchy mindset. It's a playground mindset. Bear in mind, we're in the 21st century. You think we'd have leaders nowadays that would be able to collaborate and communicate, but what we're always trying to offset, whether it be in governments across the world, or whether it be in the playground, or whether it be at work. The fact is, when you start from a no mindset, I've had people say to me sometimes, I'm arrogant. I wouldn't class myself arrogant. I wouldn't class myself confident. I'm just me. What judgment you place on me, that's your prerogative. But the way I frame it sometimes in an event, I take a book out and I ask for a volunteer and I give them a blank sheet of paper and I say, all you've got to do is, I'm going to flick through these pages. When I say stop, when you say stop, I'll stop and they say stop. And I say slide the page in there, slide the page in there, I'll slide it down and I'll get them to read it to the audience. And they read about a paragraph. And I say the book cover's covered. And I say thank you. And I say, right, everybody, got the flip chart here. Can anybody tell me the name of the book, the table of contents, or the wisdom the book is looking to transfer? And they go, no. And I said, why? And they say, well, there's not enough information. I was all fair enough. John, my volunteer, I say, John, can you read a bit more? So he reads about half a page out. And I say, right, everybody, back to the flip chart. Can anybody tell me the name of the book, table of contents, the chapter headings, or the wisdom the book's looking to transfer? They say, no. I say, why not? So because there's not enough information. I say, John, back to you again. Read the rest of the page. And he reads the rest of the page. I say, right now, where are we? And they say, there's still not enough information. I say, I'm a bit confused. And I say, I'll tell you why. That book there's got 365 pages in it. One page for every day of the year. I've just given you a complete page. But sometimes we make judgments on people in the first 30 seconds, whether that's true, whether it's believed to be true. But we make opinions of another human being and we haven't got enough information. We don't know their past, we don't know their struggles, and we're very quick to condemn or judge. To me, that's not a responsible way to live. We can all have our own opinions. They're just our opinions. Doesn't mean to say we're right. But you'd be surprised how much we as humans push our point of view through the very fabric sometimes of what we want to keep. In a relationship, we push our opinion, we push our belief. To disrespect somebody we love, somebody we gave our vow to, or somebody we've committed to. And sometimes we make our opinion or belief more important. So when I say it's the big placebo, it means when you say something, whether you believe, remember my language, whether you believe you have the right to say it, you don't have the right to disrespect any other human on this earth. But when we're all, let's say, disrespecting ourselves daily, then logically, we're not going to do any better or any different to somebody else. So when I say the big placebo, none of you believe you're perfect. And that's the truth. It seemed like it's gospel. None of you are perfect. And if I say it, you go, well, yeah, nobody's perfect. Every human being's perfect until you judge them or compare them to another human being. You are unique. There has never been anybody like you on the face of the earth in our human history, nor will there ever be. And that uniqueness that is you, that breath that you breathe, that heartbeat that is yours, it is your God-given right, evolutionary right, spiritual right to be and define yourself. You are a piece of the jigsaw puzzle that completes this world. And if you're degrading yourself, disrespecting yourself, refining yourself to literally the cesspit of life or negative beliefs and opinions, then we can never lift our consciousness or our spirituality to a standard to the point where we have enough trust where we don't need nuclear weapons or our opinions or beliefs anymore. So whether that answers the question, Lottie, I don't know.
I think it does, and I'm kind of like busy typing down quotes of yours. I'm putting them in the comments. I'm trying to type them up here as lower thirds to appear here. What comments, folks, when you're watching, whether you're watching live or a replay, what comments, if you hear a quote from Lee or you hear a thought concept from Lee, please do type it up, because that enables us both to see your comments and react with you, make these more interactive, much more interactive, but it also is great for us to have comments so that we can time code check in videos. It's always really useful for people. That's a quick confidence on camera tip there. Now, Lee, and actually I wanted to do a couple more shout outs to people who are here. Eamon Tolan, thank you very much. Well done, Lee and Lottie. Thank you very much. And my mentor right now, my MS to Success mentor right now, the lovely Karen Dwyer, who's been a speaker with you on your stage at various events. Two of my fave people. Favorite person there. And actually, as I was saying to Karen, it just started my MS to Success coaching. Lee, what you were saying there about we are always, and I think this relates to being on camera as well, bearing in mind that everything Lee is saying can be related back to creating your own lifestyle presenting and your own confidence on camera, and remembering that these tools right here, this camera, is an interactive tool. You as viewers, to me, the only point of view that matters is you as a viewer. You who view, thank you, but only your point of view matters, because as far as I know, Lee, most people tend to watch videos. It's not like TV. We tend to watch videos and live stream shows on our own. So that's where it really relates to the inside world and the outside world that you're talking about here, because we always will judge ourselves first. And having spoken to Karen, had a meltdown, Karen, again. Steve said something, I took umbrage, and therefore I'm sitting on the loo, shaking like mad, going and trying to calm my breathing down. And that's when I went, thank goodness, thank God I've got Lee coming on the show on Friday. And then Tech Mayors a moment ago with Carol, who's now had to go, so we couldn't re-record. But yeah, Lee, long-winded way of saying that judgment of ourselves is always the first thing. So what would be your tips to help people? And I also, thinking about helping people, I want to hear your quote about the difference between helping and what people buy, but we'll come on to that about how to relate this back to business and what's happening with COVID now. But what tips would you give to people who would be the ones using the negative language, bringing in and feeling I'm judging myself? Because I talk about the judgment devil, get rid of, thank you and goodbye, thank you and goodbye, thank you and goodbye. And here's the perception angel. So allowing yourself to trust in yourself more. Can you share more about that trust in self and for knowing yourself?
Well, I think most times, see, it depends what you want in life. Whatever we accept. So it's not that, first of all, are you empowered enough to do what you want? That's where we would be. Empowerment. I want to change my life. I want to change my future. And that's really what we're looking to do. We're not looking to change our life. We're looking to make a better future, because what we've got is what we've got. But then we put all the rules on it, and then we put growth on it, growth mindset. Well, that's positively. No. It's a positive when it's compared to fixed mindset. Any mindset in my mind is set. And some people's minds are so mixed up, they're just like concrete. So first of all, it's the acceptance of self. Where you are is where you are. Some people want to say, call a surrender on their past. I wouldn't call it like a surrender. I would call it a truce. Surrender means in a sense you lost. Language to me is very, very important, because it's what words you say. I won't get caught up in each word. I would just decide what you want. Who do you love? Yeah, never mind loving yourself. I mean, let's say, and I know I'm going to be controversial. If you're that selfish, you want to love yourself. Yeah. Then there's something wrong in the first place. What you want is to be loved by somebody else and to love someone else. And because you're not getting sometimes what you want, you feel that you've got to love yourself because somebody else isn't loving you. So you can look at it this way. Janet Jackson's words, what have you done for me lately? Yeah. What have you done for somebody else lately? We're here to serve. We're not here to compete. So first of all, one, you're not here to compete with anybody. You are you. You're unique. There's never going to be anybody else like you. But we are part of the human race, and I've said it before in speeches. I'm not in a race. I'm not a gladiator in the arena of life. I'm a collaborator. I'll serve anybody. But I will not be told what to do or spoke down to. So the point is, at some point, you've got to stand, some would say, up for yourself. You've got to stand up for what you believe. That's what they would say. I wouldn't. Stand up for what you know is true. With every breath. And what I mean by that is the only things you want really is love. The only things you want really is safety. You know, we put goals outside of that. I need money, I need this, I need that for me to feel safe. The reason being is we're caught in, say, a survival mindset, as in we've got to pay the bills, keep the cave warm, that's to keep the heating on in your house. And we get caught in this survival mindset. And then we feel we're trapped. Trapped is a physical term, which means that kicks in the fight-flight system. And if it keeps kicking in the biology, then we can suffer stress or some ailments. Freedom and liberty, they're the two keys to it all. Freedom and liberty. Not freedom for your own thoughts. Freedom just to be. Freedom just to be in the now. Freedom not to worry about what somebody else is going to think. Don't even try and think what they're thinking. I know what she thinks of me. I wouldn't waste your breath with that. I wouldn't even waste a thought on it. You never know what another human's going to think unless they tell you. And most times when they tell you, you see the external avatar. You don't see the true being. They're representing themselves based on your expectations of them. So a few things I would let go of to start with would be expectations. Design your future. That's focus. You can have future fiction or you can have future focus. What do you want in your future? Don't allow your past to let you or stop you from having it. Don't allow an experience you've lived through disrespect you or define you that your inner child, because if it's a child, then it's got to go through puberty. Into a teenager, I mean, if it's a child, how long is it going to take for the inner child to grow up? Which means if it's going to take 10 or 15 years, that's 10 or 15 years of what you've got slowly getting better. Your life can start with a new breath. The next breath. Bear in mind, your life is in between breaths. That gap between breaths is your life. Take that gap away, all you've got is one breath. So when you breathe that breath, what are you going to do with it? Because that breath then kicks in the heartbeat. So yes, you can use meditation as a form of medication. You can use goal setting as a form of medication, where you can just be you with every breath, every heartbeat. If you want to use meditation, get aligned first. Then meditate from a true place of alignment. And then you're on the right frequency for, say, manifestation. Manifestation is external, yeah? And attraction is internal. You attract to you like a magnet. So the tips, accept where you are. Don't fight it. You can't fight yourself anyway. Whatever's said outside is outside. It's in the real world. Just because somebody says it, all that is a representation of what they think. Don't allow somebody else's thoughts to control you. Your thoughts are there to serve you to make your future better, to make somebody else's future better. You're going to judge. Use judgment to make your life better and to make somebody else's life better. If you're going to make a statement to somebody, then find that true space. Don't just tell them what they think. Oh, your hair looks lovely, and inside you're thinking it looks horrible. Yeah, integrity is what alignment is. Integrity means it's integral. It's honest. It's true. It's pure. Just because you think something bad about somebody, yeah, rather than think, well, I didn't like to say, don't think it in the first place. What right do you have to judge another human being? And if you're so clever, yeah, and you think you've got that right, show me where it's written in any law that you have the right to judge another human being. Doesn't say it. We give the right to a judge to do that when laws are broken, as in when somebody else harms another human being. We don't have the right to judge anybody else. And if we put more focus on our own lives and everybody else's lives, we might have that future focus. So stay focused, decide what you want. Don't allow future fiction, negative expectations to ping back into the moment to tell you what the future is going to be. That's data, that's intelligence. When it comes back and you don't like the feeling of it, or you don't like the thought of it, that's intelligence. There's rocks ahead. Change direction, change your strategy. Align with somebody that's got a skill set. We're not on this world alone. Collaborate with people you trust. And if you're not making new friends, make new friends. But some are out, they put crosshairs on you, they're out for your money. They're out for whatever they can get from you. And that's what we're scared of. So words are cheap, actions. So look for people's actions. Yeah, so whether it's a relationship, whether it's with your kids, if your kids, good tip with your kids, I think, anyway, and I've got 11 of them, is talk to, well, speak from this place. What will they think of me when they're my age? What will they say about me when I'm dead and gone? What my grandkids say about me, my great-grandkids? Will my name still be said 100 years from now? I think, well, that's a bit far out, Lee. Use a breath as a legacy each time you speak. Yeah, and if you think that way, and I'm still working out.
I'll just say, I like that. Use a breath as
a legacy.
As a legacy. Use a breath as a legacy. I'm loving that, and I'm typing up all of your tips here, and I love that. Look for actions rather than for words from people. And Martin's just saying absolute genius. Too right, he totally is. And I love what I commented here is we're not here to compete, because I've been talking, Lee, for ages about I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm a co-preneur and collaborateur. Not that kind of collaborateur, but again, we talk about COC. It's the spelling of it might be rude, but that was your mind being rude, not mine. COC for us is confidence on camera. Our supportive bra that you signed, thank you very much, is not a supportive bra that we created at Ladies Go Live. It's a live legals document that enables both Lee and myself to be mutually beneficially covered with where this show can go. and that we have to be positive about each other, and that we can ask for negative comments to be taken down. And I love that, Lee, that we in the live stream community, thank you all of you who are commenting, have managed to get rid of trolls and negative commentators in the live stream world through Facebook. Trolls have found that Facebook don't like it, because then other Facebook people who are watching, lovely people like you, actually start negging on the troll. So with everything that's happening, Lee, on the likes of Zoom, I keep hearing of people Zoom bombing. My joke about video bombing, people are now Zoom bombing and just jumping into people's private meetings and being horrifically rude and just disgusting things that are happening with people. So just thinking, Lee, kind of bringing this back to, because it's 2:15 at the moment, so we've got about another 15 minutes or so, bringing this back to confidence on camera and people being confident with using these phenomenal global live tools. What would you say to people who are getting upset by comments about them, or because it all kind of links into your perception judgment? And what tips would you give for people to cope? Because people are stressed. It is middle of 2020 as we're filming this right now. People are stressed with COVID, with the world opening up again, as Karen knows. I'm afraid I don't want to go out there where it's getting busy. I'm quite happy to stay in here and do this and connect with my lovely collaborators virtually. But for some people who are finding this tough, what are your thoughts about that right now? Because I know you talk about resilience a lot.
Yeah, I'll talk about the opposite. If you need resilience in your future, then there's something wrong with your future. If you need to be brave, if you need to be the hero of your own story, then you've designed, God knows what you designed in your future. I'd like to go through life with very little resistance. I don't need to be resilient.
And actually, can you say that thing again? Because I know that Assumpta's just saying she's had this conversation with her brother earlier in the context of how our children perceive us relative to how we perceived our parents. So that's kind of like the future, the past, the future, all coming and crossing together. The next gen learning, it's crossing everything, folks. It's not just the tools. But what you were saying there, Lee, about it's the resilience, but you said something just then.
If you need resilience in your future, there's something wrong with your future.
And that's the future that we are creating, or fearing that we may be creating. Because my understanding is, therefore, then if we get stuck in the fear of it, Lee, we are, like you said, that's your future.
Future fiction.
Fake future, almost. Not fake news now, fake future. We're actually building that for ourselves.
It's all fake. That's what I mean. I mean, look at it this way. It's all fake. Yeah? I'll prove it to you. I'm thinking of a number in my head. It's between 1 and 10. It's not 1. It's not 10, because it's between it. What number is it?
7. For me, it's always 7.
Well, I'm going to say it was 3. Now, it could have been 7, but I might change my mind. You don't know. So you don't know what I think. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that people can't read your energy. So I'm not disrespecting psychics or anything like that. You can hear it that way. That's up to you. But what I think we can do is interpret people's energy or vibe. I think all of us would agree on that. And we can get a feel for what that person's most likely going to do. Sometimes even animals can do it. Like sometimes a dog or a cat, yeah. And I've seen dogs growl at people, and they wouldn't normally be lovable. The dogs are normally they're great with people. Yeah. So normally, we've got 2 dogs, if one growls at somebody, not because they took their bone or something like that, just for no reason. Actions. Yeah, actions tell you a lot. Actions speak louder than words. There's a reason for that, because words, they're just thoughts. So back to what Sam said, there's a few bits there, see. Is one, for instance, the opinion of viewers or your viewers have of me. That's their opinion they have of me. That's not who I am. Yeah. That's the conception I've created in their minds. It's not real. The conception we have, I don't know, let's say we're in a relationship and we've got a partner and we have a conception in our mind of who they are. And we've built them up in our mind because we don't like them. And then they create the actions that are congruent with what we think. See, I told you. See what she's like? But our energy, our words are not the message. What we think is this language I speak to you. In this world, it's virtual. So what I say, some of what I'm saying is getting lost. Yeah. The words carry the message, as in they're the essence that carry the message. They're the envelope that deliver the message. So when we talk about confidence behind the camera, is if now this is me, this isn't my TV voice, this is me. Anyone that knows me, this is me, yeah? So I'm not worried. Worried would be future, not past. Regret is past. Worry is future. I'm not worried what anybody else thinks of me. Do you know why? Because it's their God-given or evolutionary right to think it. Yeah? So I'm not, it sounds disrespectful, I'm not interested in what they think. Well, I'm interested in what's true. And what is true, back to what Assumpta said there, is when we speak to our children, what impression, like what avatar are you downloading inside them? And so, for instance, my kids, my youngest, say William, 7 years old, if you said to William, who's the boss of you? He would say he is. If you defied him and said, William, you're 7, you can't be the boss of you. He would say, no, I'm the boss of me. You said, well, how can you be the boss of you? He said, well, I am. This is me. I'm the boss of me. But your dad's the boss of you. He said, no, my dad isn't the boss of me. I'm not his boss. I'm not his teacher. I'm a bit of a guide. And sometimes William does things wrong. Phenomenal kid. I swear, watch this space, yeah? Yeah, 20 years' time, 30 years' time, you watch William. You watch Isaac. You watch Josh. You watch Tom. You watch Shelby. You watch Saf. You watch Olivia. You watch Poppy. Yeah? You watch Phoebe. You watch Jake. They're all phenomenal kids. You might say, you say that because you're their dad. No, they're phenomenal kids. So are yours. What concept, what perception have you created in your mind? Why can't you be like John? Why can't you be like Mary? Why can't you be like Auntie Gladys's kids? I'll tell you why they can't be, because they ain't Auntie Gladys's kids, they're yours. They can't be like any other kid. They can only be that kid. And whatever judgments you place on them, whatever commands you want to install in them, where they then start to disrespect themselves, where they then start to call themselves ugly or speak bad about them, where they cry themselves to sleep, or where they're not strong enough to stand up like for themselves, or where it's your daughter. Now, bear in mind, I've got 5 daughters, 6 boys. As far as I'm concerned, they're more than capable. I've got pictures on my phone of my daughter, Phoebe, 13 years old, driving a digger and moving maintenance. There's no difference between girls and boys, only the difference we make them. Obviously, there's a difference as in they like things maybe that are different. The point where I'm going with it, whatever judgments you place on them individually, as in you, and whatever judgments we place on children in society, as in snowflakes. I mean, what a term in the 21st century, how intellectual we are that we call the millennial generation snowflakes. Seriously. And we're the adults. We're the ones with all the answers. Snowflakes to me would be a disrespectful term. What are we saying about the next generation? What future fiction are we creating 20 years from now? So when it's the big placebo or confidence behind the camera, confidence with your kids, for one thing to be true, in my opinion, everything above, below, and parallel is also true. So if you call your this generation or the last generation millennials snowflakes, what world do you think your kids are going to live in? What fear and doubt, what anxiety, what stress, what medication will they need? How much depression will they have? This generation we've got, whether it's my kids, your kids, anybody's kids, they're the future of our world. And the more respect we have for them, the better. The more respect we have for each other, the better. Some people, like you said, Lottie, they don't just Zoom bomb or live bomb. They bomb straight in your life sometimes with a story. But that's what you hear on the outside. what's actually happening on their inside for them to do that in the first place. We keep hearing the stimulus they create, not the reason they created it. And sometimes when you let go of safety, as in you're not trying to defend yourself, and they drop it on you, in real time, it can be quite challenging to deal with because you can get caught up in opinions in the real world, and that's where conflict happens. But don't let what they do start to change your future. Don't let what they do redesign your future or define your past, because you are a separate entity. The collaborators you listen to, the positive experiences in your past you draw from, the experiences you've had of degradation and disrespect, they're for one place only. There's two things you do with rubbish or waste. You either flush it or you bin it. Yeah. So if it's in your life and it's waste and it's rubbish, and you know it's rubbish because it makes your life feel like, yeah, a four-letter word beginning with S and ending with T, and I know how to spell that one. It makes your life feel like that. So you flush it or you bin it. And it's that simple. And if you want to hold on to it, you're the boss of you. William's the boss of him. And if you've had a bad day, you can go, I'm stupid. You just weren't that good a boss that day. Tomorrow you're going to be a better boss. And if you're not sure, if you haven't got the answer, go to somebody you think has. Get a coach, get a mentor. Yeah, read a book sometimes.
And it's funny, Lee, with that it's the, like, who's the boss of you, and you're thinking like it's your little kids. I've seen them running around, and I've seen them actually do it and say it, and it is the most amazing thing because of the positivity that and the education, and this is the next gen learning. It's cross generations, cross cultures, cross global life, cross the world. That none of that judgment perception comes into it. It's purely that you see a little man who is a little man. And I'm looking through my notes and kind of seeing, right, in the last few minutes, can you reiterate again the difference between my world, your world, and the gap in between? Because I loved it when we were chatting about that. By the way, I wish I'd been recording yesterday. There was a whole nother conversation yesterday, but with all of these gems as well. So jot down below and see which gem that you felt, as Martin says, is absolute genius. Jot it in the comments. What is the biggest takeaway, the number one learning that you've picked up from Lee? Because if you don't like it, and I know Karen Dwyer, my MS coach, would say, if you don't like it, Lottie, or it makes you go ugh, inside, that's the tip you need to be taking home and working on.
That's the intel.
That's the any last minute on my world, your world, and the gap in between, and what I've just thrown in at you there.
Yeah. Well, from your skin in is your world, from my skin in is my world. The gap between us is what we call the real world. In the real world, we can taste, touch, smell, see it. It exists. And what we're inclined to do is take the real world inside. So, for example, my arm's hurting. It's a stabbing pain. So we're using external language, external actions to explain something internally. External language is for the external world, for me or you to communicate to somebody else. There's, like, you're talking to two people, then you've actually got four worlds. Their inner worlds, my inner world, and the world in between. Something Lottie said there, and what Karen said, and Karen would be a very good friend of mine, phenomenal person, same as Lottie, is when you get that, whether that is biological or emotional, that ain't real. You say, well, it is real, Lee. I feel it. I feel it emotionally. It's real. I feel it physically. My guts are churning. No, that's not real. That's your interpretation. That's how you treat it, like taught yourself, or somebody's taught you. That's life. No, that ain't life. That's like a security light. It comes on and it says, danger, something's wrong. That feeling is not real. That's how your biology has reacted to the stimulus. That's how when you feel so low and down, that's how your emotions have reacted, or your spirit. When you're confused, that's how your mind has reacted. Bear in mind my language. Reacted, which means you're not self. It means something has taken you out of alignment. So rather than when it hits, rather than, oh my God, yeah, that's when you breathe. That's when you use meditation. That's when you use visualization. Bring yourself back into balance immediately with every breath, every heartbeat. And that's when you focus. And that's when you focus on self. That's when self-awareness is necessary. Because otherwise, you're creating something, and you're creating an energy and a frequency that can affect your biology, so that can affect your relationships, affect your spirit, affect your emotions, or affect your mind. Bear in mind, whatever effect it has inside, if you don't have self-control, then you're going to express it outside, and then you start to become the negative stimulus for somebody else. So yeah, when we say none of us are perfect, in my language would be you're not being responsible enough with your breath or your heartbeat. That might sound negative. I love my wife with every breath, every part of my existence. I would die for her. Same as my kids. That's the absolute truth. Never want to prove it, but it's the absolute truth, and they know it. They might like it when I say something to them. Yeah, if I say, "Have you been a good boss today? Stop doing that." But the same thing applies to all of us. So whatever you like or whatever you don't like, I can assure you, most human beings are similar. So confidence behind the camera, confidence in life, confidence in business, it all starts with you. Everything you do will come from you. If you want to be thinking about what I'm thinking, or what Lottie's thinking, or what Karen's thinking, your focus is on the wrong person. Your focus is from your skin out. Yeah, and if you're respectful to people, now sometimes you might have to stand your own ground, and somebody might ask you to take your heartbeat, your breath, over and over again to serve them. I'll translate that for you. You're nobody's slave. So sometimes if you're a collaborator, collaboration means it's collaboration, give and take, some might say. Sometimes you might have to serve more than you're rewarded for. But the ones you keep serving, when it comes round for your turn to ask, if they don't serve back, now sometimes it's life circumstances, but if they don't serve back on a regular basis, bear in mind you don't serve them to get something back. They're not using reciprocity. But if after a while being maybe a year or so, your actions speak louder than words, but there's been no actions coming back this way, yeah, you sort of think, yeah, it might be my own idea just to keep my eye on that. Doesn't mean they're a negative person. It might mean their focus is very much on them. So when I say focus on life, life being everybody's life, and that's collaboration, that in a sense you're serving yourself probably as much as you're serving everybody else. So, because it's too lonely a life otherwise.
Lee, I love that. Focus on everyone's life, and that's the collaborations. Well, Lee, we are just after 1:30 now, so I know, I bet like me, you could probably keep listening and absorbing and just going. My mind has just been going bing, 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 bing every single time, and you know that, Lee, that every single time that you and I natter, yes, we have had natters very late into a night over a glass of wine or two. They've been so much fun. But again, it's been so much fun with you here. And it always is that focus on everyone's life is the collaboration. I really, really love that, because that collaboration and connecting with others and the serving of others is a core driver. Not the money necessarily, but I know for a lot of people that is. But for me, it is that connection and that collaboration. And as I'm talking about confidence, credibility, charisma on camera, I've also been rethinking in my brain the connect, collaborate community that is this virtual world, and why we need to build that. So I've got a comment just here to show. Alan is saying, I've been at Lee's Transform seminars and it changed my life. Phenomenal, man. So let me bring up the logo there. That's what you're looking for on the Transform session there. And Lee, just where else can we find you? Because I know that also the other thing you do is you were over there, the Legacy program. You speak regularly. There's actually Joseph Maguire there, and I see a few lovely faces of fellow speakers that I know. And as Karen's saying, Beautiful. Yes, absolutely beautiful, Karen. And thank you for doing shout outs there. But Lee, before we finish up, where can people find you? Because I know that you've also, yes, you're doing the speaking. Yes, you were also doing some live stream shows yourself. Good on you, Lee. But you've stopped those. Are they coming back?
They're coming back, my dear.
And where can people find those for you? While you're saying, I'm going to type things up so that people can actually spot them.
That's it. Well, there's my Facebook page, which is Facebook Transform Seminars.
So that's facebook.com/transform seminars.
That's it.
Okay.
Orders. Transform.vip. That's my website. I'm revamping it at the minute, but it's transform.vip. V for very, I for important, and P for person. So it's very important person.
It's not very important people. It's very important person, because everyone's the individual that they are. So I love that, Lee. That's fantastic.
And email if you want.
For people who what's happening for people who are going, I want a holiday, I want to come to Westport Adventure Park. What's happening with that? I know that's the other side of life for you, but what's happening with your holiday rental places in Westport and things like that?
Well, the apartments are all full. We do full-time lets and that. We've got an Airbnb. That's going really well. The park at the minute, Lottie, I've got no plans to open soon. And I'll tell you why. We run a family business, and it's a good business. Run for like 27 years. But my mum's 80 years old, and not sure how to facilitate running a family business. We would still, in normal times, with sometimes 500 people on a Saturday. So at the minute, I'll change that language actually. For the foreseeable future, I do not plan on opening it until I know that I can confidently, the same way I know my own name, serve my customers and serve my family and keep them safe. Until that time, it's going to remain closed. I would never sell my soul to the devil for money. So that's, in my mind, another lesson. Yeah, money is external currency. Yeah, integrity is internal currency.
I love that. Money is external currency. Integrity is our internal currency. I love that, Lee. I mean, there's so many quotes that we could have covered off today, but I want to, if we can leave it there, maybe Lee will be able to come back and do another session when you've got the adventure park, when it does reopen for adventures big and small, or maybe even for events that you might be running. Transform events.
Oh, we'll be doing a Transform one soon.
Okay,
online,
oh great.
And Roz and I were planning it last night. So Karen would normally speak with me. Karen's a very good friend of mine, brilliant supporter of mine. She's absolutely phenomenal. If you ever get a chance to hear Karen speak, Lottie the same, all phenomenal people. Yeah, very easy to know the trust, people that are genuine and sincere and want to help you. So the other way you can get a hold of me, if I can either help you or know somebody who can help you, is success@transform.vip. So even if you just want to connect, yeah, or if you want to know more about the Transform events, I do personal coaching as well, Lottie, on masterminds.
Yeah.
And so any way I can serve you at all, and bear in mind, that's another lesson I would leave you with. I learned it the hard way. Don't sell, serve.
Yeah, that's one thing at Ladies Go Live. It's stopped, and especially on virtual, stop telling and selling, serve, share, and shine. And I've left Karen's message up here saying you're both such contributors to your community and always being of service. Thank you.
Well, she's absolutely brilliant.
From a woman who is and just literally just started my MS to Success coaching for anybody who is in that world, and whether you're suffering the angst that I have been having. Listening to Lee, reminding myself with Lee that the future fiction, the fear is the future fiction. And thank you, Janie, again, our founder of TEDx Dunleary. Super insights. Thanks, Lee and Lottie. Life is indeed richer with others. Totally agree. And Lee, we're doing our TEDx Dunleary virtually, because I heard nearly all the TEDx's in Ireland have been cancelled.
Very good.
But we're doing ours virtually in October, so it's going to be a pre-record, but then we're going to have an amazing event for TEDx Dunleary as a virtual party online with all the speakers.
So, can I leave you with one thing, Lottie? And it's a personal ask for anyone that's listening. if you think what I've said has been of any value today, I'm looking for speaking opportunities on podcasts or lives. I want to change as many people's lives as quickly as possible, as soon as possible, to make our world a better place. If you can help me do that, I would be very grateful. If I can return the favour, I'll do my best to help you. So that's the only thing I would like, is if anyone knows, and I'm happy to speak for free. It's back to you, Lottie. I think I've lost you now. Have I lost you? There you go.
No, I'm here. I'm just saying for anybody to let's take the solo off there, because I'm self-producing the show here, folks. So I'm trying to type and change around
the camera. That's it.
Yeah, change the format around. I don't often use these ones, but there's little Lee, big me, big Lee, little me, and then side by side. These are all the sorts of fun. And actually, in the background there, you can see our venue for TEDx Dunleary, that wonderful library here in Dunleary. But then the other thing I was thinking, Lee, for you is I'm saying connect with Lee to support him to change lives. Global Live. Lee, I want to see you live streaming more. I want to see your confidence on camera that is shared, because I know every time you inspire me, and I'm sure that you've been inspired everybody who's been watching. So we'll do a big thank you to Lee. On the hand on heart, huge thank you. And thank you to everybody who's been watching. Any last quote to leave the viewers with today, Lee?
My friend Lottie Hearn is a phenomenal person.
Well, thank you very much. As the last quote, that is the Cockney of the west of Ireland. And Lee, you've got a great weekend planned, I hope, with those beautiful kids of yours and your lovely wife, Roz. Lots of love to them. And
one last thing before I go. MS stands for, Miracle Synopsis.
Not multiple sclerosis, miracle synopsis. Karen, we need to use that one more. Thank you very much. All right, that's it. The end of Live with Lottie for today. Next week, I was going to bring you, Karen. I'm not going to bring you more confidence on camera with my mate, but that has the tech mares today. So Live with Lottie next weekend. Please get in touch with Lee below and find him on social media and watch him when he is live. That's it from us. Big wave.
Thank you, Lottie.
And stay in the room, Lee. I need to do some photos of us, so we'll have some fun. But from you and folks, thanks very much.